Hi, I'm Dr. Chilton, and welcome to our ReWired Relationships series, part 2. Today I'm going to be talking about parenting. Today I'm talking about a very small part of chapter 8, but it's a vital part, and I urge you go to chapter 8 and read more about this. Let me start out by saying I'm the father of 4 older children from 32 to 22. And I have a lot of experience raising kids. And what I'd like to talk to you today is about a concept that I learned early on, but Erich Fromm, the great psychoanalyst and philosopher, the German philosopher from the 1940s, talks a lot about. And in particular, he talks about it with parenting, and he talks about the concept of unconditional love and conditional acceptance. And he talks about how that both of these principles are absolutely critical to raising healthy, wonderful kids who will go on to change the world, love the world, and care about the world. So let me start out with the easy one. The easy one is unconditional love. Now, early on when a child is born, the child is absolutely dependent, especially at first on the mother. It's dependent on the mother before it's born, and then once it's born, and it's in very close contact with the mother is providing nourishment. The child and the mother connect in a very, very powerful way. And mothers talk about this powerful connection, and it is indeed a powerful connection. However, the child soon begins to learn that it is a separate entity. It still depends on mom, and it depends on dad as well. It still depends on the parents to provide everything that the child needs. The child at this point in time is utterly dependent on the mother and the father. Now these create extraordinarily powerful feelings. And these are powerful feelings between the parents and the child. There are also powerful feelings between the child and the parents. Children who do not feel this unconditional love do not develop into healthy children. So let me say at this point, I believe no matter what a child does, no matter what the circumstances, that child should always feel unconditional love. The child should always be loved unconditionally. But Erich Fromm talks about as a child begins to develop in pre-adolescence and begins to move into adolescence, something called conditional acceptance becomes very important. And parents oftentimes have a real difficult time making this transition. This is the transition between when the child begins to see its world, to act out, to do as the child wishes, and the child becomes much more dependent. At that point, it becomes very important for the parents to teach the child limits, to teach the child boundaries, to teach the child concepts of fairness, concepts of morality, concepts of kindness. And it's also critical in this period of time to unequivocally show the child that these limits are very important, and if one crosses these limits, then there are responses and reactions to crossing the limits. The children simply can't cross the limits without something being taken away. Now, this doesn't mean that you love the child any less. The love is still unconditional. But this conditional acceptance creates within the child an incredible morality, a love, a kindness, and eventually the child will develop into a person of integrity. Now, one of the most critical aspects of conditional acceptance is the capacity of the parent to appraise the child's behavior. Many parents, and we hear helicopter parenting, we hear all of these names that psychologists are calling these parents that simply do not have the ability to see when the child is not behaving within the limits, when the child is not behaving within fairness, when the child is not being moral and is being immoral, and not taking actions to make sure that the children stay within the boundaries. Now, when this doesn't happen, when parents do not have the ability to appraise that behavior, then the unconditional love, conditional acceptance part of the equation falls apart. Because the conditional acceptance simply will not allow that child to form in a healthy way in which that child will be responsible, and it will be a good and kind child, and will be a child that carries out the purpose that that child was meant to carry out when that child was born. So as I said, in chapter 8, I focus a great deal more on unconditional love, conditional acceptance. I urge you to get my book and read that chapter. Undoubtedly, parenting is the most difficult challenge that any of us will face. So it's really, really important for us to get our arms around these key concepts. I hope you have a great day.